Major news headlines often describe two different worlds when they talk about China. One story warns of a collapsing economy and environmental ruin. The other comes from people who actually visit Shanghai or Shenzhen. They describe a high-tech, highly efficient society that seems to be operating decades ahead of the West. This gap exists because of a massive, coordinated industry dedicated to misinformation. Troll farms are currently using AI to generate photos of fake disasters or editing videos to make vibrant Chinese cities look like gray, miserable slums. When a nation struggles to win an economic competition, it often shifts its strategy toward reputation destruction. If a domestic population is fed a constant diet of fear and external threats, they are far more likely to stay compliant at home. Experts call this strategy cognitive warfare. These manufactured fears are difficult to reconcile with the physical reality of the country's megacities. Looking at the sheer scale of this urban development, the narrative of a collapsing, broken society begins to fall apart. The distance between the media's version of China and the real country is a high-stakes digital strategy. It's an illusion designed to keep the world from looking too closely at what is actually happening on the ground. Many analysts focus on nominal GDP, where the US still leads, but economists prefer GDP PPP, purchasing power parity. This measures real wealth by what money buys locally. Measured this way, China surpassed the US years ago. In New York, a single dollar buys one bottle of water. In Beijing, that same dollar buys four. Because the money goes further, the government has more real wealth to invest in schools, research, and national infrastructure. That level of investment has led to a specific historical result: the elevation of 800 million people out of poverty and into the middle class. That is nearly 3 times the entire population of the United States. Moving that many people into a lifestyle with modern housing, smartphones, and high-speed transit requires immense organizational competence. A failing or incompetent system simply cannot deliver that level of rapid progress for its citizens. To be fair, the stereotype of a polluted, smog-choked China was accurate 20 years ago. At the time, the country was acting as the world's factory, burning coal to produce the cheap plastics and goods the West demanded. That reality has shifted. China is currently installing more solar panels and wind turbines than every other country on Earth combined. They are now executing a green energy transition at a scale that was previously thought to be impossible. This dominance extends to the roads. While Western car companies are still trying to figure out how to make a budget-friendly EV, Chinese brands like BYD are already selling affordable electric cars to the global market. The Chinese government realized that energy security is the key to the next century. They have effectively won that race, while the rest of the world still pictures them as a coal-burning chimney. The most jarring comparison for many visitors is the infrastructure gap. In the United States or Europe, a 1,300-kilometer trip usually involves aging tracks and long delays. In China, that same distance is covered in 4 hours on a high-speed train. These rides are incredibly smooth. The coin balanced on its edge stays perfectly still, even while the train travels at 350 kilometers per hour. This high-tech reality is integrated into daily life. Simply tunnels have reliable 5G connections, and most urban transactions are handled through smart city systems that use facial recognition or QR codes for instant payment. The industrial sector is just as advanced. These automated ports move millions of shipping containers using robots and AI, requiring zero human intervention on the ground. For many Western visitors, the experience is less about visiting a foreign country and more about a sudden, jarring arrival in the future. These technological leaps lead to a clash in how we define human rights. In the West, freedom is defined by political rights, the ability to vote or protest. China operates on a different social contract. The government prioritizes freedom from poverty, freedom from crime, and a guaranteed annual increase in quality of life. In this arrangement, certain political rights are traded for economic growth and national stability. On the street level, this looks like a young person walking home alone in a major city at 3 a.m., feeling completely safe. When Chinese citizens look at the rising crime and homelessness in many Western cities, they see a system they don't want. They choose a social contract that guarantees safety and prosperity over political expression. This model is fueled by an education system that is now producing a massive army of scientists and engineers. Every year, millions of STEM graduates enter the workforce. As a result, the country is no longer just copying Western designs. China is now a primary innovator in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and 6G technology. For decades, the West relied on China to be its factory. Now that China has become a center for global innovation, that relationship has shifted from cooperation to intense competition, causing significant anxiety for those left behind. Admitting the China of infrastructure and economy are thriving challenges the belief that there is only one right way to run a country. The smear campaigns we see today are a desperate attempt to keep that realization from the public. But in the age of the internet, that curtain is being pulled back. Traveler vlogs and global trade data are showing a reality that the news headlines can no longer hide. To understand the modern world, you have to look past the manufactured fear. China isn't a perfect country, but it has achieved more in 40 years than most civilizations manage in 400. The real threat isn't the progress happening in China, it's the people trying to hide that progress from you.